It is an honor to introduce Dr. R. Bhanumati, a naturalist, conservationist, educator, author, and puppeteer. She blends science, storytelling, and tradition to make environmental education come alive. With a PhD in puppetry and formal training in environment education from the UK, Dr. Bhanumati has worked across rural schools, NGOs, and academic institutions for over 4 decades. She served as a senior project officer at WWF India, conducting workshops on biodiversity, water, forests, and medicinal plants. She has also used puppetry as a powerful tool for communication and training. Dr. Bhanumati has authored engaging field guides on butterflies, moths, and puppet making, thus making science accessible and joyful for all ages. Please join me in welcoming Dr. R. Bhanumati, a storyteller, a scientist, and lifelong advocate for our natural world. In this session, I ask our guest some questions about her journey, which is intriguing, inspiring, and engaging. Let's just start with that question that I had, that which city do you call home, and which are the various other cities that have you lived in the course of your journey?
I have lived in Delhi for about 25 years, where I grew up. Then we shifted to Chennai. Now I'm presently outskirts of Pondicherry. I don't know. For me, all these three places were home and now home. We can call it that way. For those two, 41 plus 25 years, Delhi and Chennai both were my home. Now, present home is, I'm in a retirement community of Pondicherry. So that's my present home. Yes.
And I was reading that, when you started, you actually did a stint in environment education in the UK. How long were you there for?
It was a short certificate course, which was meant for all those people working already. It's an in-house kind of a course. When I
Okay.
was working in WWF, they sent me to do a certificate in environmental education. That was for
Okay.
3 months,
Okay. Okay.
1991, from September to December.
Okay.
People already in the line, they were only taken for that.
Right, right,
People
right,
were
right.
all environment. Yeah.
And this is the first time I've actually heard of a PhD in puppetry. How did you, what did you study for this PhD?
I must tell you, I was a biology student in school, and after that, I wanted to pursue medicine. But my mother was very adamant because my aunt, she did her MBBS, she became a doctor, she renounced everything and became a sannyasi. So my
Okay.
mother was so that if I do medicine, I become another sannyasi in the family. So she dissuaded me. So she wanted me to be a good housewife. So I joined BSc Home Science. Then I did my MSc Masters in Home Science.
Hmm.
So it's nothing connected with my work later. So those two were academic back when I
Okay.
started my academics. So after that, 1981, I lost my mother in 1980. And then my father said, let's shift to Madras then and Chennai now. The 81, it was Madras. So we shifted bag and baggage now to Delhi. He retired as a deputy secretary in Home Ministry. So he said, I don't have a house, so we can't stay. So we shifted. So it was a long journey from then, 1981, to till I left Chennai in 2023. It was, I would say, a diverse activities I did during that 41 years in Chennai. Delhi, of course, I finished my academics and then I was doing a short stint in a government school teaching home science to plus two students. I was PGT home science then, 1979 80. Yeah.
But it is, your non-formal teaching which is really interesting. I know you were a formal teacher. Do you want to tell us about that non-formal aspect of your teaching years?
See, what happens in a formal thing, you have to follow the basic syllabus and curriculum, we call it. And my work started in 1983-84 with WWF, with World Wildlife Fund. Then there was no syllabus for us, there was no curriculum for us. We had to evolve as we proceed with our work. We have to develop new thoughts, we have to develop new concepts. So that's what I call it as a non-formal education, because formally there's nothing to follow. So you have to do a lot of challenging references. You have, because I'm talking about 1984-85 when I joined. That time, where was computer? Forget about Google and all the other technical things. Those days we never had anything. I had to sit in a library, I do reference if I had to conduct a camp, a nature camp, which I was involved for the last 15 years with WWF. So that's when they sent me. If you have noticed, yeah, I mean these power. This was a camp which I conducted in Palakkad Mundamdurai Tiger Forest. So it was basically going to the forest, conducting a camp. The camp will last for a week, 5 days to 1 week, where the campers will come from all over India. They'll stay there. It's called the National Nature Orientation Camp. You can see the logo of WWF. I was in charge of the education department of WWF. Now, this is an interesting one work which I did for the STF. The STF, they after they with Veerappan, no, when they encountered Veerappan, and these people they were not aware that forest is something which they need to understand. So they called me a because I could speak in Tamil as well as in English. So they wanted somebody who could tell them. So then they called me Special Task Force people, that is STF expansion. So we went to a Manglam forest in an anti-poaching shed. I was the only lady among all these people. There's one or two more of this you can just scroll it. And that's when see, we have one short, one puny looking person in between all those. So, but then I command so much respect for my work. They listen to me. They came with me on a trek and they learned a lot about. See, I'm basically a field person when I was working. So always, in the field, I explain everything. So they were there. So so that's it. I mean, with my binocular. This was more than 20 years ago. So they were there. And of course, these kind of programs like talking about butterfly spots or nature, wildlife, is a whole range of subject I covered during my tenure for the last 4 decades. This was in a college, I think, in Chennai, that was talking about moths and stuff like that. So
what about you had some scripts that you wrote for wildlife conservation broadcast for All India Radio. So when did you do that?
All India Radio. Yeah, see what happens is when you are in the field, a lot of people would like to address the general public, the common man, on various concepts. So they asked me that we are going to give you a slot. So I have spoken in English and also have spoken in Tamil, because some of these programs are all vernacular, you have to speak. So then they said this is a concept, and then I wrote a script, and then it was narrated during that session. Many times I have done for All India Radio, because Doordarshan much came later, much later. Those days I'm talking about 80s and All India Radio is much more effective those days. Yeah, these are totally all my books for the last 10, 12 years I've been involved in book writing. So my milestone of 50 to 60 and 60 plus, I'm 68 now. So 60 plus till now, I would have how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, including textbook and all. And I think I'm the only person who has done writing of books, published books in both in Tamil as well as in English, because the Tamil publishers are very keen. They need some authentic information, though it's all in English, so it has to be done in Tamil. So that's what this publisher was. I have written 3 books for the same publisher.
And do you want
Yeah,
to
so
just, do you want to tell us a little more about this moths of Agastya and butterflies of Agastya? Because that was we had
yes,
we had a
yes.
talk on Agastya 2 weeks ago. So it'll be nice for you to just tell us about these two books.
Yeah. See what happened at 2012. I was invited by Agastya to come and see if we can do some work with them. I had already left WWF way back in 2001, and then I pursued my PhD, and then it was a long journey for me. And then at that time, 2012, I said they called me, they invited. So I went there. I did a small demo session on puppetry, and we were discussing. At that time, I saw so many butterflies in the
Ah,
campus. Then I
okay.
said, "Hey, why don't you document? I will document." I mean, the book was never in mind. So they said,
Okay.
okay, you can document. So what 1.5 to 2 years of documentation. Every week I'll come and I'll stay and I'll take photographs and make notes. So the book came up in 2019. It was
Okay.
released. And then the first time because they wanted a pocket size book because it was
Right.
similar to my book on butterflies. So
Oh,
2019 this was released. On that day I said, I want to work on moths now. They immediately they
oh,
said, yes, we do all the logistics and all that. So the moth work started in 2019. It went on for next 4 years, spanning
oh,
20 months. Yeah. In between, what happened? The this COVID,
COVID.
COVID,
Yeah.
this closed the campus.
Okay.
So after that, I had to start again, and then I finished in 2022. After 2022, what happened? I have to shift from Chennai because they wanted to renovate that place or where I was staying for 41 years. It was not, I was only a tenant. So they
Right.
said that we want a place. So 2022, I didn't know what to do then. My sister is in this place called Seri Pelican, which is a retirement community campus of Pondicherry. So she said, why
Mm-hmm.
don't you come? See, I am also there. And brother-in-law was very keen. I said, you were just two sisters. So I shifted, I bought a small one bedroom villa in 2022 end and 2023 April I shifted. This is now since 2 years I'm now living here permanently.
Okay.
This is my home as you rightly asked in the beginning. So
Right.
so
Right.
these are the books and the moth is one of the most hard work I've done even for my PhD. I've never done so much hard work. So much
How
of
many how
work.
many moths how many
Yeah,
moths have
it
you
was,
covered?
yeah, this book covers 653 moths. And
Wow.
yeah, it was
That is
it
a
was a
lot.
big, yes, that's a lot. So 600 I have given the information. 53 unidentified, that is left as such. If
Okay.
somebody wants to, and they can identify, they can always contact me because I've given the email ID in the book itself. So the book is now it's been very well recognized. It's going good reviews I'm getting, and I've set in a new benchmark for moth book writing in India.
Right.
So I'm
Right.
the only person in India to have done two Lepidopteran moths and butterflies are called Lepidoptera, scaly winged
Right.
insects. I have
Okay.
written a book in Tamil on butterflies, moths in English.
Okay.
So these two things you rarely get to get from the same author.
Right. Because it's a specialization, I'm assuming.
Yes, I my second edition of my butterfly book in Tamil came up in January this year. Following
Okay.
that moths of came in English.
Right. Right. And
Yeah, you may ask me.
lots of press and lots of awards, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
yes, these are very old ones. I could get, of course, latest ones I don't know. This was in May 2005.
Okay.
This that black. This is I'm very nostalgic because I got the award from the Baha'i community along with Dr. Shanta. She's no more. She's a cancer person. I mean, cancer specialist from Chennai. She's at this Cancer Institute. Dr.
Okay.
Shanta. So she was along with me, and also Mini Krishnan from Oxford University. I mean, they are all eminent people from Chennai. So I was one
Right.
among them for doing
Okay.
work on puppetry. This was given by Baha'i community on puppetry. Then the
Okay.
other one, next one is Dakshin Chitra gave me award for my work on
Okay.
puppetry, the art
Right.
of puppetry. He gave me that. Of course, there are a few more which I don't have photographs. Then
Right.
this
Right.
is a very interesting one. See, I finished my research in around that time, 2020, 2004. And
Okay.
get the title, my puppets got me a
Mm.
PhD.
Yeah.
That's very
Yeah.
interesting. That's why I just thought I'll share this. This
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
way back in 2005, many years ago, 20 years ago. This is, yeah, lot of, I got more than 200 paper cuttings. I have no time to sit and
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
all scan all these things. So in Chennai, I'm quite well known during that time. My milestone, my 40s and 50s, I have been very, very active in Chennai, doing a lot of work connected with puppetry because I was
Okay.
running a center called Pavai Center for Puppetry for 16 years.
Okay.
So that was almost every other week, some reporter will come from various newspapers, journals, Tamil and English journals. They'll come and they'll talk about my work. So that went on for many, many years.
Can you
So
tell us
that
some of the
milestone of,
TV channels that have covered you? I'm sure you have featured on quite a few.
yes, I was featured on Sun TV, featured on Vijay TV and Jaya TV.
Mm-hmm.
Jaya TV was the first one to recognize my puppetry work. And Sun TV, I came as a morning visitor. Then Vijay TV it was a sort of a question and answer session like the way it is done right now. They interviewed me about my work. So Vijay
Okay.
TV. Then later, I think Kalendar TV also. I think 4 TVs interviewed. I mean, most of them you'll get it in YouTube. I don't know whether it's
Right.
still
Right.
there or not. Yeah, this is something interesting because the I got a grant to work on my trust, that is Pavai Center, got a
Okay.
grant from Wetlands International to after tsunami to work with the puppets. So what
Okay.
I did was puppet making and marketing was one big project, which was the grant was given for materials and training and all that. So I did training in 3 hamlets, fishing hamlets around Chennai. And those
Okay.
women were taught how to make puppets, jute puppets. And the Augsburg Puppet Theatre, they heard about this and we sent puppets to them. This puppet is about the fishing community family, they have given name as Kandasamy, Saroja,
Right.
Muttu, Malak, this Kandasamy's
Okay.
family from that fishing hamlet, and they used to go for road shows, take these puppets and talk about their problems and what happened with after tsunami and all that. And
Mm-hmm.
these 2 puppets were sold as a set, and they earned
Okay.
income. So there were more than 2-3 thousand puppets were made during that process when the project was given. So we bought a lot of things like sewing machine, thread, and jute and
Mm-hmm.
things like. It
Okay.
was a big project. It went on for nearly 2 years.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So this is that.
So you could take us through your puppetry journey. I'll share some slides and you
Ah,
can just tell us what it is.
so this is my first session in Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi Government Ministry of Environment called me for a session on biodiversity awareness using puppets. You can see all these abaya clad women. In fact, this is very interesting because I was all the time talking to them only by looking at their eyes. So they are not
Okay.
supposed. So
Yeah.
just like now, you are hearing my voice and not looking at me. It's the same.
Yeah.
So this was first session way back 2011, I think, or
Okay.
29, I don't know.
And
So this was a very,
how long was the session for?
this was done, I think, one day each in 3 locations for a week, I think. So
Oh,
they invited me and they took care of the logistics. This was a
right.
very
Right.
simple work. After that,
Mm.
I think 3-4 times I have been there. And last was a program on Hobara Bustard conservation. I think that also you can show now. This is the first, let's see. Oh no, okay. Now this is, um, I used to do this puppetry sessions for Club Mahindra Holiday, Sterling Holiday, and of course number of schools. This is at Sterling Holiday Group in Kodaikanal. This was done in Kodaikanal. where they made these puppets and they were supposed to use it for their own customers, whoever visits their resort. See, nowadays that thing is stopped. Yeah, here I'm just giving a talk show to children how to manipulate puppets and all that. So that's one session in one Adayar Ponga in Chennai. Was like, yeah, this was in Goodur in Andhra Pradesh. See, these
And
people, they call me.
so you were teaching
Yeah,
about conservation through puppetry.
conservation. You see all animal puppets. This
Right,
is
right.
Goodur is a small town, Nellore and Goodur, small town along the coast. And they wanted me to talk about this. And it's in Telugu. So whatever little knowledge of Telugu, I could talk to them, talk about biodiversity, talk about different names of the animals. They all the children made. This was an ongoing project for nearly 5-6 years. See, the
Okay.
person in charge will call me and they will host this whole program. So this was way back in 2007 or so it started. That was, I told you, 40s and 50s, my milestone was the most maximum work I've done. Yeah.
Right,
So
right.
this was fun. And yeah, the next. Yes, these are the 4 jute puppets that Kandasamy family
Mm-hmm.
from the fish led. So I taught them how to sew, how to get it about. This was done in Bangalore. Oh, that's the next one. Kids
Okay.
for Tiger, run by one Mrs. Ramaya, Usha Ramaya. She called me for a session on tiger puppet making. About tiger conservation. This was Kids
Okay.
for Tiger the project. So she talked
Okay.
about tigers and related, and then they made these tiger puppets that was taken during that tiger puppet process. Then they used to call me on the Madras Day event. See, the Madras is about 350 plus years old. So the Madras Day is celebrated every year around the month of August. So they call me in a park, public place, and the kids
Okay.
will come. I will talk about nature. That's a parakeet puppet, a parrot puppet. I'm talking to the children. I kind of change my voice. I talk like a animated version,
Right,
and
right.
the children, rapt attention. You
Yeah,
can
I know
see
though.
they're all very, very curious to know why this puppet is talking like this. So this is
Yeah.
about something which I did every year. I was doing this in a park. Then this, see now during Navaratri, there is this Bolu, the dolls display.
Yeah.
This was in 2005 when one art gallery gave me a place so to
Mm-hmm.
display. So
Okay.
I did this. Related, there is one close up of that. So this was puppets. No, that's okay. We'll come to next one. So I do a lot of these talk shows where I pick up a puppet and talk about conservation, talk about gel. It's not only wildlife all the time, it's about something social messages. Good touch and the bad touch,
Right.
hygiene, health, good food habits, clean habits, and things like that. This is my very
Hmm.
favorite puppet. The kids love it. Mino, this puppet is called Mino, which I created. So I
Okay.
took it to a group of children and they used to call me for a program. Like this, I've done many programs in Chennai. Now. So, and then this is one of the talk shows. This is organized by that Madras Naturalist Society. We had a series of programs in schools where I take the puppets and talk about many concepts. And then the children will watch me, but they will watch the puppet. Because the
Yeah.
puppet is talking, not me.
Correct. Yeah,
This
yeah.
is school. Right. So these talk shows were very, very popular. Then these workshops I used to conduct regularly for art students in a college, communication students in a college, and this was one such program in Chennai, which was done in I think Stella Maris College. Yeah, this one has gone to. This is part of my puppets dolls display balloon. I made this, and now this is sitting in Augsburg Puppet Theatre, Germany.
Oh,
This time,
oh.
and they asked me all the details. This is Vinayakar. Who is that Vinayakar? Who is that Lakshmi? and they have kept it in a glass case with all the information written.
How nice.
Yeah, it's a very proud of it. This
Yeah.
whole set went to Germany from my Poway Center, and the German consulate, they took it in their hand luggage. They said it's very delicate. We can't post it or send it by airmail. So she took it in her hand luggage and delivered to the center. Augsburg Puppet Theater is one of the oldest in Germany. So that was way
And what
back in
is
2005.
what is the material that is used to make this puppet?
Basically, it's a head is made out of paper mache. It's a molded one, three-dimensional.
Okay.
Cloud puppet, and the costume.
Okay.
Costume is a bit base. I have propped. There is a prop. I kept
Okay.
it for the photograph.
Okay.
Otherwise, you
Okay.
can use it your hand to move the puppet.
Right. Right.
So yeah, this is typical costume of Mylapore mama and mommy. So
Yeah.
this was that. This all went. So yeah, this is how the display of puppets, the dolls. So the top one is Vasavataram, all
Okay.
the 10. Then there is a Rama Sita one side, there is Lakshmi Saraswati, then there is a whole lot of animals and birds and all. The last one is the alphabet finger puppets, the last
Finger
one
puppets.
below.
Okay.
A to Z, all the animals inside those folders. So
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is part of display. So not only just giving workshops, I also have this kind of exhibitions on a regular basis. People will invite, they give me the space and the lighting, and I display all these things. And sometimes they keep it for a month for others to see. This is very interesting. This is my last workshop in Abu Dhabi, where they
Okay.
made these climate change was the program there. I trained them to put up a program which lasted for about half an hour in their main auditorium in Abu Dhabi for the general public in English and in Arabic. So
Okay.
this is the Arabic group of participants of the workshop who made a show in Arabic along with proper music and dance and the concept and the story. These are the puppets they made during. It's about a 1 week workshop in Abu Dhabi. So this
Okay.
was that. And yeah, some of the puppets, yeah, we made this. This is a Muppet style puppet, the mouth opening
Puppet
puppet.
style.
So they
Yeah. Yeah.
on based on their story. Yeah, this is Kubara Bustard. Kubara Bustard, that's fish. Kubara Bustard was main work they did. Because see, bustard conservation, yeah, this is very important. This workshop, they made a road show later for the people who hunt the bustard. See, in Arab countries, bustard hunting is a custom. It's a what I would say, it's a tradition.
Okay.
So for the falconers they hunt and they
Okay.
also breed. They breed the bird and they hunt. So we said we
Okay.
should have a sustained hunting. You should not deplete the whole resources and stuff like that. The concept were based on that. So this is all part of that workshop. So see, all my workshops are concept based, not for the sake of doing something. It's not. I've never done it. So always, that they'll give me the concept. If the concept is Hubara Buster, so immediately I'll think about how to do it and what are the kind of because my background. So I think somewhere there I felt one is nature education, my skill. The other one is application of a resource like a puppet, a tool. So
Okay.
how do I apply the concept into the puppet into the tool? So unless the tool and the concept merges, it will be very successful as an output, as a presentation. So
Right.
my work, all because these 4 decades, I've been involved only with the concept and the tool and the communication. So all those things, because I have done communication in my masters, and I've worked in wildlife field for about 3-4 decades. And puppetry I did because of my research. So everything is triangulated. Everything came together as I would say in a single process. So that's why, puppetry is helping me, the concept of wildlife is helping me, application and making a tool, and my skill as a trainer is helping me. I'm not an entertainer. I don't do puppet shows. I don't do
Okay.
that. I only
Okay.
train others.
Right.
Others who are involved, I train them. And they take up further. That's it. Yeah.
And also, I think you like photography. Is that one of your hobbies?
Yes,
And do you
yeah,
use it?
yeah. No, not hobby. I won't say it is part of my wildlife work.
Okay.
85 when I joined the organization, we had to take our own photographs for our presentation. Those days it was slides. I used to prepare slides for the presentation. Those
Hmm.
slides were through the slide. There is a different technique. Now it's all digital. Those days we never were into digital, no? So you have to make the 35 slide for my presentation. There
Right.
was
Right.
no PowerPoint 80s and only made after mid 90s only. So 80s and 90s and all I was using it during my camp. There's a projector where you put one slide and you take out, you put another one, you take out, that's it. Or you will have a round carousel where all the slides were put into the slot and you operate the slide and it's projected on a big wall. So
Okay.
this was my technique. For this, I have to learn the photography techniques. I had to make my own slides, and I had to
Okay.
make my prints for the report in the office. So these are all taught me so much as part of my work. As part of my work, I have to understand and learn how to do it because there will not be anybody who nowadays you see for even a small event there is one photographer coming and doing everything and he charge you so much and he give you
Yeah.
the final thing either in
Yeah.
the form of a CD or whatever. I'm talking about 84, 85, late 80s, 90s. Where was all this? And my office will not allow to have any budget for that. So it
Yeah.
was all, we learned on the job. I made mistakes. I've learned. So that has molded me into taking photography seriously. So
Hmm.
I have moved from aim and shoot camera to simple digital camera to a SLR camera to a DSLR camera. So my 40
Wow.
years and 4 decades are also part of me moving from one to the other. Now the technology is mirrorless cameras, but of course that's too much for me. But I am very satisfied with my DSLR. My let's see 653 photographs which has been there in that book is all taken by me. Of course, you
Oh,
have
that's
to understand you can't simply take a picture like that of a moth sitting on a screen. You have to have a camera, a proper lens, and a flash and a diffuser. You throw
correct.
uh, the light directly, it will not have a proper effect. So a
Correct.
diffuser will cut down that. So this is the
Right.
whole gadgets I used for my entire 4 years of my work with the Agastya campus. Of course, I have other things also. All my pictures of my book is all mine. Of course,
Hmm.
10 years ago, I used to borrow from others. Now I'm self-sufficient with my photographs. So I use only my photographs for my books. So it's been, I don't know, I mean, everything has got a purpose in my life, now that I'm into photography. So the book assignment keeps coming. I don't have to worry about photographs because I have enough. See, 100 species I have covered in my Tamil book. So that's all
Correct.
from my collection. Yeah. And all these things, as if this was going on, uh, once I said, okay, enough now, I want to explore because I've never been out so much during my, my tenure with WWF because we were very focused only looking at Tamil Nadu's wildlife. So I started traveling for the last 15 years or so. So I went to Arunachal, Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Rajasthan, and all these places. Almost every season I have visited. I go to Goa only when it is raining. So I call it as monsoon magic. So I document the frogs during the monsoon season. I document the orchids during monsoon season. Then coming back to some areas where birds are there only during the migratory season and things like that. Another
So,
thing helped
what are
me.
you? Sorry,
Yeah.
what are you documenting in Pondicherry now?
My backyard, I've got enough.
Okay.
Birds are there, butterflies, birds, insects, wasps, millipedes, centipedes, spiders. Of course, the book kept me busy now slowly, and beautiful flowers, wildflowers around. So I think nature is beautiful in on its own way. You have to look at it in a with different eyes, with different as a yeah.
And I see that in your journey you also had used puppetry in to teach courses in HR in IT to industrial workers. How did
Yes,
you cover that? What did you do there?
yes. See, what happens is they have different concepts that they will not know how to project. So they said puppetry is a light-hearted medium. If it is theater arts, that means you have to have a proper script. They all have to rehearse. Some of them may not have good knowledge. Some of them are not good in coming out in front of an audience. So puppetry gives them a chance where they go hide behind the puppet. They will talk using a puppet. If you ask them to give a talk, they cannot. So this gave them an edge from other medium of communication. So it's basically communication for the sake of bringing their inner talent out. That's what I've done for many industries or companies or whatever. Even for Club Mahendra, I've done I think series of every year they'll call me. I think for 6 years or so they call me every year. The entire group will assemble in one place, and I train them in art and craft and puppetry. They in turn will take up that with their resort children who
Yeah.
visit the resort. They can so that was going. See, nowadays things are all different, Swati, because now everything is digitized. Everything
Yes.
they get in Google search. There
Yeah,
is no
yeah.
hands-on. See, for me, my hands-on session is very valuable for a person who cannot sew, who cannot even thread the needle. And there are a
Yeah.
lot of things and then something which they learn and they go back very happy. All my workshops, in either whether I conducted in Abu Dhabi or in Chennai or in Bombay or wherever, it's all hands-on session. Now, where it's
Hmm.
hands-on now, that is why I'm not interested in this Google Meet kind of, I mean, this online kind of a thing. A lot of
Correct.
people ask me during COVID times. They said,
Right.
"Hey, you come here." I said, how will I show them how to do this stitching? It's
Correct.
impossible to see our this thing has failed. It is a technology, the technology we are using, but it's not helping us. But
Yeah.
when you are in person, when you're sitting with a person, you will know their eye contact. You will know what are their strength and what are their weakness. If a person is weak in something, I'll try to enhance the strength of that person. Oh, you're good in that. I'll encourage them. I say, hey, do this kind of a puppet, you will love it. Ma'am, I can't do this. No, don't do that. Attempt something which you are positive about. So, a lot of positiveness, a lot of motivation, using their own skill, all these things comes up during a workshop, which otherwise will not happen if it is online. Because online, you're only listening and watching. Online, how will they know? So there are do-it-yourself videos available that people are already involved, they can take up. Those for the
Correct.
first timer,
Yeah.
individual attention is not there. See,
Very
X
important.
says, I don't know how to do. Y says, I don't know this. Now I can give that training. But this is the problem. This is the problem with the. No, it has got its own advantage and disadvantage. We are reaching out from far away. That's okay. See, talking and presentation is very easily done. Like, see, though I'm not visible, but all the pictures they are able to see all our
Right.
members. Your visible
Yes.
circle members are looking at it.
Yeah.
But this is not so if you are talking in front of them.
Correct.
And they
Introduction.
also will look at the speaker, look at the guest speaking, how their body language is, what they are wearing, how they are presenting, all these things. Because in front of a video camera, you can goof up anything, but you cannot do that when you have a attentive audience. The audience will look at you. You can look at the eye contact of an audience and you can say, yes, oh, that person is not understanding. Let me give some more input. So these things will not happen. You will have a book in front and you can read it out. You will have so many things helping, but there
Correct.
is something that communication is something different. That is why I have not taken up any kind of workshop. Over a lot of pressure. Even last week also somebody said, I want to do this podcast session. I said it's impossible. Unless you come and sit with me in a
Yeah.
maybe room or maybe in a hall. I have done workshop for 200 people at a time for a company because
Okay.
they are very keen to learn what this is so much about the art of puppetry. Even
Correct.
if you can make a simple puppet and take it home, these are
Mm-hmm.
all adults' mind. I've done it for various age group, from kids to
Yeah.
adults, even to
Mm-hmm.
senior citizen. At the time, I was not a senior citizen. To a senior citizen, I did long back in Bangalore.
Yeah.
They called me for a program. They were so happy. This, I think, probably about 20 years ago. They all were very articulate. They said they were cutting the thing and they are sticking something. They are talking through that. So that was something amazing. When I said, oh, this is puppet is very interesting. So that's why I'm passionate about all the three aspects in my life, which has made me what I am today. I'm able to talk confidently because puppetry gives me that communication skill. I'm able to think about various concepts of nature. That's why my book on moths came up. And I'm able to write, so I'm able to publish books. So publishers are coming to me. I'm not going to them. I've never gone to any publisher. Everybody says, no, we want this and this is what you have can do. So it's something like that goes on. So I'm also happy about it.
Very inspiring journey, Banu. You have been through so much,
Thank you.
and yes, and
Any
you
questions? Anybody
you've
wants?
given us a glimpse of it. Are there any questions here that you would like to ask Dr. Bhanumati?
Yeah, I have a question
Yes,
to Dr.
Naresh.
Dr. Bhanumati, since you're a nature lover, you're into butterflies, moths. I just want to
Yeah.
ask you why there are no fireflies now? Because as a kid in my native place, in Mangalore, when it is to rain, there were a lot of fireflies. Now I don't see them.
See, lot of things are changing. The lifestyle of many fauna and flora are changing because of the climate change, habitat destruction. They are not getting the same kind of a habitat, same kind of a food plant. I have seen couple of fireflies in my place, which is far away from the city, but at the same time, why it has disappeared, we have no answer because we have developed that place so much for our own selfish motive. I am also sitting previously the place where I am right now used to be an agricultural field. So it is our own way of living. Now we can't say that forget all that, go live like a sannyasi. That's impossible. We also need basic comfort. I'm sure we need a car, we need a house, we need roads for moving around. We need everything. So in that process, a lot of things have disappeared. For example, honeybees. Honeybees and wasps are disappearing. Have you seen, here there's plenty of wasps because it's an undisturbed place. Honeybees are also disappearing. Now we need all these because they help in pollination. Very often people don't think about these small creatures because we think tiger is big, elephant is big, we need that. No, unless the honeybees are pollinating, we cannot get the second, what do you call the second consumer like the plants. From the plants goes our deer. The deer population is good, the tiger will be hurt. The plants are good, elephants are not. So in the entire ecosystem, we need balance. If the balance is lost, one is lost means the other is lost. We have lost so many things. So including fireflies gone. You remember, sir, when your native place is same like what you have seen some 20, 30 years ago?
There are
Is it?
changes. Changes.
Yes. Yes. Those are the changes is what affecting the life of any insect. Insect cannot live like us. They need certain ecosystem, they need certain habitat, they need certain uninterrupted and undisturbed locations. They can survive only in that. If the habitat is disturbed, they cannot survive. They would have gone somewhere else. They may not be in your native place, maybe to a next forest or to a next village, which is less disturbed. They are there, they are not totally gone. You are not able to see because there are a lot of changes in your neighborhood. So that is the reason.
Yeah, and one major change is the mobile telephony, because it has waves.
Yeah. The towers also, the waves from the towers are also affecting.
Birds
To
and
I mean that is debatable because there are a lot of people are asking whether it's right or wrong. We don't know because there are no scientifically proved that because of this is happening. They maybe or may not be. But habitat destruction is surely is going to affect where you destroy a place of stay. That would definitely will take a big change in anyone. See, even for us also, we need a place of our life. If it is not the same, we are not able to sustain our activities. So that could be the reason.
Thank
That could
you.
be the-
thank
yeah.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Naresh. Thank you,
Happy that-
Binu. On that note, I think we are closing on 6 o'clock. I want to
Yeah.
thank all of you who have attended and Dr. Bhanumati for giving us such an interesting insight into her journey on conservation, on puppetry, on teaching, on the workshops that she has done. And we hope to hear from you again, Bhanu. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Swati, and the entire team from Wisdom Circle for giving this opportunity. And I was very nostalgic collecting all the pictures for you.
Yeah, I know.
Unfortunate. I'm not visible right now. At least my photographs are there in each of those frames. So thank you so much. My pleasure too for giving
Thank
this
you.
sharing
Thank you.
experiences. Thank you.
Have a nice,
Thank you.
have a nice evening, everyone.
Thank you. You too.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Take care.